Full multi-DRM in MKIO means Widevine, PlayReady and FairPlay all configured under a single streaming locator. So one asset protected across Chrome, Android, Windows, Safari, iOS and Apple TV. This is the configuration for content that has real DRM requirements. So studio licensed material, premium subscription content, and anything where ClearKey alone isn't sufficient. MKIO supports two multi-DRM configurations, and it's worth being clear about the difference before we get into the steps. Multi-DRM CENC streaming activates Widevine and PlayReady via CENC. That covers Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Android, and most TVs over Dash. Predefined multi-DRM streaming is the full configuration. This adds FairPlay and CBCS encryption, which is what you need for Safari and Apple devices over HLS. A quick note on FairPlay before we start. This requires a certificate, password, and application secret key, which is issued by Apple through their FairPlay streaming program. You apply through the Apple developer portal, and if you haven't got those credentials yet, you can follow the Widevine and PlayReady parts of this video and just use the multi-DRM CENC streaming for now. And I'll call out the specific FairPlay steps as we go. So there's a few things you'll need before you get started. The first is a running streaming endpoint. Next is an asset that is verified to play without encryption using just clear streaming only. And for FairPlay, as I mentioned, you'll need your Apple FairPlay streaming certificate, password, and application secret key. Step one is to create the content key policy. So navigate to content key policies, select create, give it a name and select add in the digital rights management section. Not the ClearKey section, that's separate, and you'll see options to add Widevine, add PlayReady and add FairPlay. So for Widevine, select add Widevine, enter a policy option name. Under use token restrictions, select yes. The token type is JWT. Enter your issuer, audience, and primary verification key. And these are the values you're going to use across all three schemes. And they need to be identical across all three because the same web token has to satisfy all of them. Leave Widevine template as it is, unless you have specific license requirements like custom playback duration or offline persistence settings. Then click add. For PlayReady, select add PlayReady, enter a policy option name. For token restriction, yes. And then enter the same issuer, audience, and primary verification key as Widevine. Leave the PlayReady specific options as their defaults, unless you, again, have custom requirements. Then select add. Finally, for FairPlay, you're going to select add FairPlay. Again, enter your policy option name. Token restriction, we're going to click yes, and have the same issuer, audience, and primary verification key. Then provide your Apple FairPlay certificate. So you're going to upload this file plus the certificate password and the application secret key. Then select add. Select create, and you now have a single content key policy with all three DRM schemes, each requiring a web token. The next step is to generate this web token. Before creating the locator, we're going to generate a test token, and the process is the same as ClearKey. So I'm going to go to jwt.io, set the issuer and audience and your payload to match the policy values, and then paste in your primary verification key into the verify signature field where you have secret base64 encoded checked. You then want to copy the encoded token that is outputted. Step 3 is to create the streaming locator. So navigate to your asset, select add streaming locator, and select the streaming policy to multi-DRM streaming. Set the content key policy to the name you selected earlier. In this case, it's multi-DRM-JWT. Select add, and then select the locator and apply. MKIO will generate the playback URLs and license acquisition URLs for each DRM system. They each get their own license URL. Step 4 is to test the playback. So in MK Player, select Dash and Widevine if you're on Chrome. Paste the Dash playback URL in the source URL window and the Widevine license acquisition URL in the license URL bar. In the license request headers fields, enter authorization bearer token. Then select play. For Safari, it's a similar approach. Select HLS and FairPlay, and use the FairPlay license URL. The player handles DRM negotiation automatically, and it uses whichever system the environment supports. So this is the simpler configuration, so we're going to move through this quite quickly. But for completeness, here's the no token CENC configuration. So Widevine and PlayReady only, no FairPlay, no token requirements. This is useful for scenarios where token authentication is handled elsewhere or it just isn't required. So create a content key policy, name it multi-DRM CENC, add Widevine as your policy option name, use token restriction to no, and leave the Widevine template as it is. Then click add. Again, we're going to add PlayReady in the same manner and create the policy. Add the streaming locator on your asset, set the streaming policy to predefined multi-DRM CENC streaming, and the content key policy needs to be set to what we just made, so multi-DRM CENC open. Then again, click apply. To test an MK player, in the Dash protocol, select Widevine DRM, paste the Dash playback URL and the Widevine license acquisition URL. There's no token needed, and press play. So that was full multi-DRM in MKIO. So we have a content key policy with Widevine, PlayReady, and FairPlay, and then a web token restriction across all three. We have a streaming locator that is generating separate license acquisition URLs per DRM system, and MKIO handles all of the key management and license delivery itself. And that's the last of the DRM videos. Next up is our AI-powered transcription and translation, which is a completely different part of the solution, but equally useful if you've got VOD library that needs subtitles. Thanks for watching.